your feelings are valid, you know, whatever you're feeling in regard to your blindness or your vision impairment, whether it, you know, if someone feels sad or angry or frustrated, you know, all of those feelings are valid, but also that sight doesn't equal happiness.
Hey everyone, it's Carrie from Live Accessible, and I am so excited to share with you that today we have Cayla from Cayla with a C on. Hi Cayla, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great, and I'm so excited to have you here on Live Accessible. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your YouTube channel.
Okay. Well, first I'll say that I'm really excited to be doing this too. Every time I watch your videos, I always think that we would get along really well. So I'm super excited that we're finally getting together to do this. So I have a YouTube channel called Cayla with a C, and I just pretty much talk about everything blindness related, like my experiences. I like to just be someone that people can relate to and connect with. I also do some kind of tips and advice and things like that. I have Leber's congenital amaurosis, which is like a more severe and early onset type of retinitis pigmentosa. I can really only see slightly more than shapes and shadows. I was born with it, and I've been legally blind my entire life, but didn't really start to lose vision until I was about 18, and then it's been slowly deteriorating from there. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah, and definitely check out her YouTube channel because she has everything from her life with her husband who's sighted to cane and mobility to Braille, which it's really great. You are one of my favorite blind creators, Kayla. Really, seriously.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
I think that you started even before I did. And so you were like one of the channels I would watch even before I started making videos. So I will link Kayla's channel up in the cards and in the description for you guys. Definitely go out and check it out. So tell us a little bit about Leber's and, just growing up legally blind and how you transitioned over to, being an adult and losing more of your sight.
So Leber's congenital amaurosis, gosh, all of these eye diseases are a mouthful. But I didn't find out that I had that until I got genetic testing. It was probably just a year, or no, I guess 2 years ago. I feel like this whole past year doesn't happen. I lost a year of my life. So I guess that it's been 2 years ago I got genetic testing and found out that I had that. This whole time I was told that I had retinitis pigmentosa. But from what I know about it, it's like I said, just a more early onset and severe type, which made sense to me because sometimes I would come across other people with retinitis pigmentosa and they're like, oh, I could drive until I was 50. And I was like, what in the world? I couldn't even read regular print since I was born. So it just made more sense because I always kind of wondered why is mine so much worse? And then so growing up legally blind I feel like it was okay because it was all that I had ever known since I was born that way. So it was just really normal to me. And then when I started losing vision, I think it was hard because it was unexpected. I was always told that my condition was stable and that it wouldn't get worse, which I don't know why they told me that, because everything you read about retinitis pigmentosa or LCA, it all says that it gets worse. So I don't know why they always told me it was stable. So when it started,
terrible.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know why they said that, because anyone with the internet could tell you otherwise. So when I started losing vision, I was like, what's happening? And I went to the eye doctor and I told them I think my vision is it seems like it's getting worse. And they were kind of just like, oh yeah, that happens. But that was a surprise to me. So then it just kind of became a constant adjustment, because you lose some vision and then you have to adjust to that, and then you lose a little more and you have to readjust. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, I can't imagine being told like when you're young, like it'll be stable, and then, all of a sudden, oh yeah, that happens. They should not do that. They should change that. So, I mean, I grew up legally blind too, and I'm sure that we had a few similar, experiences growing up. But what was some of the challenges that you faced? Well, I guess you were in school and you were losing vision. What was that like?
Um, I think probably the biggest challenges that I had was that I didn't want anyone to know that I was visually impaired, so I worked really hard to hide it, which I think made things just more difficult for me than they needed to be. I know like in school I didn't want to use my magnifier, and so I would just kind of like pretend like I was following along, and like I did okay, but it was just difficult sometimes, and I always felt like I had a lot of anxiety, like please don't call on me to read because like I can't read this. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge, was one that I made for myself, of trying to like keep it a secret.
I actually had a CCTV follow me from room to room, and that was like one of the most embarrassing things. Probably a little bit more embarrassing were like the teacher's aide. They would follow me, and I'm like, leave me alone. And then this was when I was a teenager, so that just makes everything so much worse. So how did
Mhm.
you like overcome that, and how did you get past that and accept your blindness?
I guess I started to move towards that when I went to college, because I needed to use a cane, and like it was harder to get away with hiding it, because it's like there was it's like you had to pay attention and you kind of had to be able to read your material, so it was more difficult to get away with trying to hide it. So I think that kind of made me slowly start accepting it more. And or I mean, I wouldn't really say accept it, because I feel like I always accepted it. Like I felt like it was just a part of me and I accepted it for myself. I just didn't want other people to know about it.
Mm.
But I started to let go of that some when I went to college. And then as my vision got worse, it just became more difficult to hide, where it was like, okay, now it's like, it's obvious that I can't see. And now, like, I just look more and more like stupid because people don't know that I can't see. So they're like, well, what is wrong with this girl? Like, why is she running into stuff all over the place? Why does she not know who I am? So I was like, okay, I look stupid because people don't know that I can't see. So I should probably, you know, be more upfront about it. But I think really the biggest thing that helped me like open up about it was watching other blind YouTubers, because I had never really known other blind people. And so I kind of felt like I was the only one. Like, I'm the only one who runs into wet floor signs everywhere I go. And then when I
So not true.
found, yeah, when I found other blind people on the internet, I was like, oh, everyone does that. Like, it's not that bad. It's not that embarrassing. So I think just like being able to relate to other people made it seem like it was just, it wasn't as bad, because there were other people who did the same things.
Yeah, I totally understand. It was like for me, it wasn't until I went to summer camps with other blind kids that I'm like, oh, there are other blind kids out there, because I was the only one in school too. And then I started working at a place that hired blind people. I'm like, oh, it changes your perspective when you see other people in the blind community, go through the similar things and still succeed. So tell us, I know that you just graduated with your master's a few months ago. What was it like? And, what did you go to school for? And what was it like going to college being blind?
So I got my master's in social work in August of 2020, and I I think it's interesting because getting my master's was almost easier than getting my bachelor's degree because,
Really?
yeah, so when I took 4 years off in between getting graduating from my bachelor's and then starting my master's program. So like I had lost quite a bit more vision in that time span. So when I went back to school, I was a lot blinder than I was when I went to undergrad. And so when I was in undergrad, I was using like CCTVs and like magnification on my computer. And it was just a lot of work because I was still using what vision I did have to read my assignments and like do research and read my textbooks. And it was just so much effort and it was really exhausting. And so when I went back for my master's, I don't have the option to read large print anymore. And so I have to use like a screen reader. And so I had all of my books in like PDF form and would just use a screen reader to read them to me. And it was so much easier because I wasn't having to put in so much effort. Like, I mean, school takes a lot of effort anyways, like the learning and the thinking part, but like just the sheer act of just reading with your eyeballs is not supposed to be the part that's like super hard.
I can imagine the eye strain on all of that.
Yes. So it was, like I said, I feel like it was easier because I was able to concentrate my effort on like the actual schoolwork and not like the visual parts of it. And I felt like I was on the same level as my classmates, like because with my voiceover, like it doesn't take me 4 times as long to do an assignment or to read something as everyone else. Like I can do it in the same amount of time. In fact, probably I read faster than a normal sighted person with my voiceover. So
Yeah, you can really speed up voiceover and screen readers, and we get so used to it that we understand it when it speaks so fast. A lot of
I know.
sighted people are like, "What? What does
I
it
know. I
say?"
get that. I get that all the time. People are like, how do you understand that? It's interesting. And like, I would have my husband like proofread my assignments and I would like just sit there while he was reading. And I'm like, gosh, you read so slow. Like, but it's funny because like that used to be me but like 4 times slower than that. But it's like in comparison to voiceover, that's just like going 100 miles a minute, like sighted people, like it seems like they just read really slow now.
That's so funny. Yeah, so I want to pick your brain about screen reader versus Braille, or what your thoughts are. I know you learned Braille as an adult, at least I think that's right, from
Mhm.
your videos, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Braille and screen readers?
I think they're both good for different things. I think Braille is helpful for like literacy. Like I've talked on my channel before, like I cannot spell. I'm a terrible speller because I'm getting all of my input through audio. And even though like I used to be able to read like traditionally with my eyes, it's like you don't always remember how things are spelled. Like it doesn't stick when you're not like seeing them on a regular basis. So I think Braille is really helpful for things like that, like being able to spell and like punctuation and things like that. But I do think that screen readers are just more efficient, especially like if I think about my job that I do, we have like just all kinds of stuff like on the computer. And we have like an electronic health records system. And like, I just don't know how, I feel like I would be painfully slow trying to like navigate all of that with a Braille display. So, but I think that Braille is useful in things like labeling things around the house or being able to like take notes. Like if you're giving like a speech or something and you need to have like notes for the topics that you want to hit. I also think it's good for like, I think I mentioned in my Braille video that my main reason why I wanted to learn Braille is I wanted to read books to my
Mm.
future children. So I think being able to read like that is helpful. So I think they both have their benefits of things that they are useful for.
Yeah, I totally agree. I learned Braille as a child, a student when I was in elementary and middle, but the thing is, I didn't use it. I just one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Hmm.
And so I still know grade one Braille, so like the alphabet, and I can read that okay. I'm not very fast, but I part of me wishes that I did learn it and I retained it and I used it when I was little, because I think that using both audio, so something you listen to, and something that is tactile, that it kind of engages another part of your brain sometimes.
Hmm.
Using those two together, I think, the more things we can use, the better for us, right? So,
Yeah.
more tools in our tool set.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I know that you've also done some videos about orientation and mobility and your cane. So I actually just did an interview with Joy Hugh, who is a guide dog user. And if you guys want to check out that interview, I'll link that up there. But I know that you're definitely more of a cane user. Would you ever consider getting a guide dog?
I think I would consider it if I was traveling more, like if I was just going out and about more often. And I don't, well, I mean, obviously I don't go anywhere now because, you know,
Yeah.
um, but like before that, I didn't really go out a lot of places. Like when I would go to school, I would take an Uber that picked me up at my house and dropped me off at the building, and I would just like walk inside. And then when I would go to my internship, same thing. Uber would pick me up at my house, drop me off right at the door, and I would just walk right into my office. And so I think just with my lifestyle, a guide dog would be really bored. I think if I lived in a more walkable city where I needed to like walk places, that it would be helpful. But my city is just not walkable, and so I think like right now I just don't really have the need for a guide dog. But if I did feel like I needed it and I was traveling a lot more, then I would consider it.
That's definitely very good points. So, what was it like learning orientation and mobility, especially with your background and not wanting to let other people know that you were blind? Like, what was your journey through O&M?
So when I was like a teenager, they really tried to get me to use a cane, and I was like, no way, not having it. Like I would not even like hold one in my hand. I was like, get that away from me. But when I started college, I had an apartment it was really close to campus, but it wasn't on campus. And so like I had to cross a lot of streets to get there, and just like even on campus, there's still a lot of streets, a lot of stairs, like it was big. And so it was kind of like probably um, should use a cane to be able to navigate this like unfamiliar territory, and especially with crossing the road so cars know that I'm blind, so hopefully they won't hit me. And I actually had a boyfriend at the time who like made me promise to use my cane while I was crossing streets. And I think I think it helped me. Like it had a reason of like, okay, I'm gonna keep this promise to this person that I really care about, and who obviously cares about me and my safety. And so I think that helped me to like push through. But I was still like, I still didn't love the cane. So like as soon as I felt like I knew where I was, I would like fold it up and put it in my backpack. Like I'm good now. I don't need this. I crossed all the streets. I can walk to my building from here. So it was definitely, it was a transition to feeling more comfortable with using it, because I did do that for a while. Like as soon as I felt like I didn't absolutely need it, I would put it away.
Gotcha. Yeah, I went through that phase too. So I can
Yeah.
definitely relate. And I know a lot of people, who still, probably should use a cane, but they're still not there yet. And each of us have to kind of go through that ourselves, and make our own decisions. But yeah, I definitely relate. So, what made you start your YouTube channel, Cayla?
I I think what really made me want to start my channel is that I like when I would watch other people, I was kind of like I would like to be that because, YouTubers that I watched helped me so much. I wanted to be that person for someone else, and it seems like I have been. I get a lot of comments of people telling me like, you helped me accept my blindness and open up about it, and it's like it means so much to me because like there were people who I was commenting that on their videos, and now like people are commenting that on mine. So it really means a lot to me, and so I just wanted to help other people. And also it was really cathartic for me to finally be able to open up about it, because like when I started making my videos was it's been like my 3-year YouTube anniversary is coming up in a couple of days. So it's been almost 3 years ago, and that was really the time where I started opening up about it in my own life. So like those happened at the same time. So like my family and friends were learning all of these things about me from my YouTube channel because like these were things that I had never talked about before. So it was kind of like my way of just opening up in general to everyone by being able to make these videos.
That's very interesting. And so, like, what's your goal with your YouTube channel? What's your vision for it?
I feel like I've always kind of like towed this line between it being educational for just like the general public for sighted people, but also being a resource for blind and visually impaired people to either learn things or just have like relatable content where they can go and watch someone else talk about their experience and just connect with it and be like, oh, I've experienced the exact same thing. So I think that's kind of like two of my goals, is to educate people about blindness, but also to be able to help blind and visually impaired people.
That's awesome. And you're doing a really great job. Keep making those videos, Cayla. So, a question I ask everybody who comes on here is, what's one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's blind or visually impaired?
I feel like that's a hard question because I feel like there's so many aspects of blindness that I could give advice on. So generally, I guess I would say that like my advice would be that your feelings are valid. Whatever you're feeling in regard to your blindness or your vision impairment, whether someone feels sad or angry or frustrated, all of those feelings are valid, but also that sight doesn't equal happiness. Like there are plenty of sighted people who are not happy. Like just being able to see does not make someone happy. And sure, there are some extra challenges when you are blind, but it doesn't mean that you can't be happy.
That is very well said, and definitely I agree with that 100%. Well, thank you so much, Cayla, for coming on here. If somebody wanted to connect with you and follow you, where can they do that?
So you can find me on YouTube at Cayla with a C. So it's spelled out Cayla with a C. I also have a Twitter. It's _ Cayla with a C, because just Cayla with a C was taken, and I see sometimes people tag that in their tweet. I'm like, that's not me. So the handle is at it's _ Cayla with a C. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Gotcha. I'll leave that down in the description and the links as well for people to make sure you go to Cayla and not another Cayla.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Cayla. Is there any last words you want to share?
No, just thank you for having me on. I love your channel, and this was really fun. I'm so glad that we finally got to do this.
Okay, that's awesome. And we have to do some more collabs in the future. That would be amazing.
Definitely.
All right, everybody. And if you want to subscribe to Cayla's channel, hit this button right here. If you want to subscribe to Live Accessible, you can click or tap right here. And if you want to watch more of the Live Accessible interview series, you can click or tap right here. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.